600, boy, and he keep that pole bar. You gon' get fucked over, bitch. I just don't make me call D'rose, boy. He 600, boy, and he keep that pole bar. You gon' get fucked up. Don't make me call D'rose, boy. He 600, boy, and he keep that pole bar. You gon' get.
So anybody who listens to drill music, especially the drill from the early days, anybody who listens to Chief Keef, Lil Reese, any of those 300 BDs, has heard this name mentioned again and again, especially in the earlier songs. The name D-Rose. Now his real name is Akbir Sardin. He was a 17-year-old member of that 600 Black Disciples set down there in Woodlawn. And last year, he was charged with the murder of a 14-year-old boy. Now, he, by that time, had already gained a reputation as a shooter. He was suspected in Lil JoJo's murder, but they never pinned anything on him, and actually that rumor was denied by, like, the gang members themselves. And, you know, there was some rumor going around on Facebook that he had been Lil JoJo's shooter, but the person whose Facebook account had said that his account had been hacked. Now, I mean, Chief Keef also said that his Twitter account had been hacked when he said, you know, when he was tweeting LMAO after Lil JoJo's murder. I mean, we don't know, you know, what to believe, but basically, D-Rose had gained a reputation as a shooter even before the murder that finally got him locked up. Now, this, you know, D-Rose was a teenager. He appeared in a lot of rap videos. But he wasn't really a rapper himself, not on the level that Keef or Lil Reese or Durk or any of those guys was. He was also, you know, in some other like YouTube videos of just messing around, like fights and stuff with Rondo. Not fighting Rondo, but like, you know, fighting other dudes like with Rondo. Just he had gained a reputation of a dude who was like about that, you know what I'm saying, like in the streets of Chicago by the time this happened. Now what it was on February 12th, 2014, he's supposedly shot a guy named Venzel Richardson, who was a 14-year-old freshman at Dunbar High School. That's down at 31st and King Drive. I've only worked at Dunbar one time, and actually when I was there was almost no students in the building because it was the end of the school year. I'm going to try and get back there once school starts up again. Like the way that the substitute teaching thing works in Chicago, you go on a computer and you can see all the openings, all the vacancies of teachers in the entire city, and you can pick anyone you want. And Dunbar pops up like at least 2 or 3 times a week. So I'm going to try and get back down to Dunbar and maybe like interview some of the kids from there. Tato also went to Dunbar. The hood around Dunbar is not like that's not a hood. I mean, that's kind of like a nice area, at least aesthetically. I mean, as far as violence, you know, you get your occasional incident around there, but 31st and King Drive is not, that's not a ghetto. You know, it's not what you would look at as a ghetto by any stretch of the imagination. It's just south of downtown. But you know, a lot of notorious guys have come through that school though. And anyways, this Venzel Richardson guy, the rumor is, you know, that he was a member of like the GDs, and I'm not exactly sure which set. I'm assuming Tookaville. I haven't really been able to find any credible information on this, and I don't know anybody. You know, I'm not friends with anybody from his circle. These guys are much younger than me. But you know, I've heard like rumors that he was, you know, a member of Tookaville, and that actually him and some of his friends were shooting at the BDs earlier that day, and that D-Rose was actually coming back at them. But by the time that he was shot in 2014 by D-Rose, allegedly, you know, this war between the Tookaville, you know, St. Lawrence boys, FBG, GDs, in that insane GD set down there, and the Black Disciples, both the 600 and the 300 set, had been going on for a while. Now, Venzel was walking with his friends in the 6100 block of South Vernon Avenue on February 12, 2014, when a white van pulled up. The shooter later identified as Akbir Sardin, a.k.a. D-Rose, by witnesses, opened the driver's side door and started firing. And Venzel was shot in the back, buttocks, and left hip and the neck. And D-Rose was previously falsely tied to the high-profile 2012 slaying of Chicago rapper Lil Jojo. Okay, now the relatives of D-Rose denied that he was, involved in this shooting, and and that he had anything to do with any murder. They said, he's never killed anybody. Now he's been charged as an adult in this murder. Now the kid who was murdered, this Venzel Richardson guy, the cops said that he was a gang member. And the cops don't release the name of the gang that the guy's a member of because, they're afraid that that will spark a retaliatory attack. In this case, it really probably wouldn't have mattered because everybody knows, down there what the situation is. But his family, this Venzel Richardson's family, said that the 14-year-old boy was a freshman at Dunbar, and that he had been heading to a corner store to buy chips and candy on the night he was killed. Okay, now his mother was interviewed. She said, "I never wanted to be like the mothers on TV that are crying because their babies got shot. And now I'm a victim. They shot my baby in the head." Okay, so D-Rose right now is being held on $1 million bond. This was that D-Rose was also charged for armed robbery with a firearm in 2013. And, when you get the name of like a basketball player in Chicago, you'll hear Rondo, D-Rose, these different guys that'll take these names of these basketball players. When they get these nicknames, like these are nicknames that you have to earn, right? Like when C-Day 22 or whatever, they don't just make up these names. Like they get these names after they do a hit, what I'm saying? After they engage in a shooting. And when someone has a nickname of a basketball player in Chicago, that really is an indication that they've committed murder or at least shot somebody. Maybe the guy survived, but they've at least, done some kind of shooting. Okay, because those names are not just given. You have to earn those names in Chicago.
Boy, bang, better blow, boy, bang, 'cause we gon' blow, boy, bang, better duck, boy, get on the floor, boy, 600, boy, Sonny, I rock the dope, boy, D-Rose, boy, my little boy, he gon' blow, boy, bop, get you going, boy, bop, got some little boy, I'm a grown boy, bang, give me some racks.
Now, D-Rose has been mentioned in a lot of songs. Chief Keef talked about him in John Madden. The thing that I want to focus on in this video, I get guys complain a lot that I go off on these tangents. I used to be a taxi driver, and you get used to talking a lot, just going off on tangents and going with it. So this is the taxi driver and me just going off and rambling here. But one thing that I do want to say about the kid that got shot, this 14-year-old, and his mom, because this is something that I repeat a lot in my videos, and that is a lot of parents. Look, I don't know the specific situation and what was going on with this kid and his mom. I don't know if what the police are saying is true or if what his mom is saying is true, that he wasn't a gangbanger and that kind of stuff, because his mom denied that he was about that life at all. But I see these parents all the time, and they're just in denial. They're not willing to face reality. And they say his mom, because his mom was interviewed, and I'm not going to quote every single part of the interview, but she was basically saying the police are trying to paint him as a gangbanger and just sweep this under the rug, and it's just another black boy killed, and since he was in a gang, it's not really something that we should be worried about or that we should pay that much attention to. And her point is valid that a lot of times when a guy gets characterized as a gangbanger, that kind of makes him one-dimensional, and then it kind of means that, well, it's gang related, so his murder doesn't really matter. It's like guys that are in gangs are still human beings with all of their complexities, and there's all different reasons and all different levels of involvement as far as gang life. Like there's guys who are just affiliated with the gang, and then there's guys who are really hardcore active members out there putting in work every night. And then there's a whole spectrum of in between, and there's guys that sell dope, there's guys that just do just hit licks, just do robberies, just shoot up rival enemies' houses. There's guys that are moving packs. There's guys that are just standing on the corner saying 2 for $10. There's all kinds of activity that can be characterized as gangbanging. You know what I'm saying? And a person could be involved in any part of this and be labeled as a gangbanger. And they could be I know guys that gangbang that are good students in school, and I know guys that gangbang that drop out of school when they're freshmen. So gangbanging doesn't mean anything as far as the person's character, because, I know guys that'll do anything for you that gangbang. And then I know guys that'll shoot their own mother that gangbang. So, a person's character and, whether or not they're in a gang, that's two totally separate issues. Because in certain parts of Chicago, it's like everybody's expected to gangbang. It's like that's, like getting a driver's license. It's just something you do. And, like I said in some of my other videos, you're going to be known as an op anyways, just based off of the block where you're from, especially on the south side. On the west and the north side, it's not really like that. You can choose to gangbang or not, and you can choose what your affiliation is going to be, and you're only going to be, targeted based on that affiliation that you choose. Whereas on the south side, it's like blocks going against blocks, what I'm saying? And whatever block you're from, that's the gang you're going to be in. And you're going to be an enemy to people from other blocks just based off of the block where they know you're from. And whether you want to be about that life or not, you're going to be known as an op. That's why I say, like, in certain instances, gentrification really is the solution, because what's happened on the south side is that these blocks have become territories. And the only way to stop the murder from going on is to break up these territories. But, by really any means necessary, because this territorial nature of those neighborhoods is causing this slow ongoing genocide down there. Whereas on the west and north side, like I said, it's a different dynamic. But with these parents that are in denial, I always like to give some call to action in these videos. And anybody that lives in the hood, it's our job, guys. It's the people who work or live in these areas to look these parents in the eye and give them a reality check that, like, look, we know your kid is a good kid. We know he's your little baby. We know he's a good student. We know he's on the football team. We know that he likes chess, blah, blah, blah. But he also has this affiliation which is going to get him killed by these other guys. You know what I'm saying? We have to do this because these parents emotionally, that's too tough of a pill to swallow, and it's too hard of a reality to face for them. They just can't do it. A lot of people, they see these mothers interviewed after the kid is killed, and, the mother's saying, oh, he wasn't in a gang, and people say, oh, she's stupid. She's an idiot. That's what they say. It's not that. I've seen some mothers that are really intelligent say this. It's an emotional problem. It's a psychological obstacle that they can't overcome, to be able to look at your kid, your own kid that you've raised from the time he was a little baby, and say, this kid might have actually killed somebody, and the family and friends of the people that he killed are going to come back and try to kill him. Like, no mother can accept that. So they deny it, and they create this alternate reality where they live in, where their kid is still a good kid, but he's just in with the wrong crowd. And meanwhile, he's the wrong crowd. You see what I'm saying? So we, the village, have to do it. Have to, help the mother to get to that point where we say, you've got to get your kid physically removed from the situation. I mean, when a kid gets to a point where he's deep into the gang life, to the point where, he's probably going to get killed or locked up, the only solution is moving. That's the only solution. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to move out of Chicago. I mean, if you okay, I get it. Like, maybe some, black people on the south side like living around other blacks. Look, there are suburbs and parts of the north side that are black, where you can go, that are not bad. You know what I'm saying? It's a myth that all black areas are hoods. They're not. There are black areas that are, relatively quiet. I mean, you're not going to find any place that's like, without money. I mean, like some places like Hyde Park, some of the wealthier, like, black areas. Okay, I get it. You need money and you might not have money to move there. But there are places like South Evanston, places where you don't need money, where you can go, where it's not going to be this inevitable result that your kid's either going to get killed or locked up. You know what I'm saying? There are other places you can go, but a lot of mothers don't know about this. So we have to tell them about it. And you know what? If you know a mother, like, in the hood, and you see her kid going down this path, and you don't know, like, what to tell her, you know what? You can, like, give her, like, my, like, you can just tell her about my channel and have her contact me, and I'll give her the information personally. Okay, just have her hit me up on, Hangouts or whatever, like, private message me, and I'll give her the information about, like, places where she can move, where it's financially possible. I'll ask her where she works. I'll find a place that's an easy commute for her, and I'll do that. I'll even meet with her in person. I can go anywhere in Chicago. So, Yeah, that's just to all you guys, and then you know, to all the kids that are to all the kids out there that, you know, kind of glamorize and idolize D-Rose. You guys, D-Rose, he ain't never seen the outside of a cage again. You know what I'm saying? When you're 50 and you got, you know, grandkids and you've forgotten all about D-Rose and all about this drill movement and all about this Chirac gang life or whatever, and you're in a completely different world than you're in now, he's still going to be in that cage that he's in now. You know what I'm saying? That's a reality maybe that hasn't set in, but I think about guys who did hits when I was a teenager, when I was 15, like guys who are out there becoming street legends doing hits. And I think now I'm 33, and I think all this time, you know, I think back to the person I was at 15, totally different person. I think this entire time they've been sitting in that cage. All the stuff that I've done, all the stuff, people that I've seen, all the places that I've seen, all the places I've been, going through high school, through college, all this stuff, I think this whole time they've been in that cage. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, this whole thing is a big lie that's being sold to you, that this is a you know, a cool thing to do, or, you know, that's like you're gonna be a legend or whatever. Man, forget being a legend, bro. Being a legend ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? What is that? What is your reputation? It's a thought that exists in another man's head, and you'll probably be the last person to admit that you care what other people think about you. And yet, if you do something to become a street legend, you're basically giving your life away to get someone else's opinion about you to be good. You know what I'm saying? That's just a thought in somebody else's head. Who cares what they think? You know what I'm saying? Who cares if they call you a lame? I don't care. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about this, guys. Definitely, you know, if, like I said, if you know any mothers who, you know, have kids that are gangbanging heavy, you know what I'm saying, you can hit me up, have them contact me, especially after school starts, you know, because I'll be subbing in the schools again. I can, you know, I can come to any school and meet with them at the school personally. You know, just let me know. So that's all I gotta say about this. This is your boy Chicago News on the Loose.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Squat. Yeah, squat.
600 600 squad. Yeah. 600 that squad. I trust bitch I'm from 600. Ain't no squad like us, bitch I'm from 600. Let's go. Let's go. Squad. Double O. 600. Now we walking back. Good smoke comrade, man. Dope, man. Thanks. For my niggas, man. For my niggas, man.